good to be here, boys. I've actually been looking forward to this for a while.
Definitely is.
Yeah, no, it gives us a good release to,
current circumstances.
speak our minds.
Hello.
I reckon we need to test Odin for coronavirus.
Got a dry throat?
How's the fever?
Yeah. No, seriously, I've been looking forward to this for a while. It's all giving us something to do when there's, in times when there's not really
Definitely.
much to do.
I think a lot of people had a lot of things on their plates and all of that sort of just got wiped out.
Yeah.
So it's like opening the doors for things that you probably wouldn't have the time to do regularly.
Yeah.
We're pretty busy people.
Yeah.
And to sit down for a period of time and set everything up and all of that takes...
Well, this is completely new for us.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been on a podcast before, let
Bit of
alone
a shot in the dark.
had my own, so
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. So I reckon if we just throw it into introducing ourselves, so I'll kick it off. So my name is Seamus. I manage bands and work in the industry. I work with these two. I manage their bands. We put on shows at Pride and stuff like that. But yeah, we sort of just giving it a crack. How about you guys?
My name's Sam. I'm 19, born and bred in Melbourne's western suburbs, and I play guitar in a local band called Franco Cozzo, which, as Seamus mentioned, is managed by him and the Exude crew. And I'm just keen to be here.
My name's Lee. I play guitar in a band called Red Fairy, also managed by Exude and Seamus.
Unfortunately.
We've been a band for just a little bit over a year. Seamus picked us up, helped us out.
Yeah.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, let's go first into what we want this whole thing to be and how, our ideas for how it's going to go doing this podcast being. So it's called Exude Spotlight Artists, which is a extension of our blogging, reviewing site that we're working on right now. It's going to be permanently hosted by us three, so look forward to seeing us more often.
Unfortunately,
yeah. But yeah, so I guess this is just going to be, about how we're feeling the music industry to be, our experiences, what we recommend people do and not do from our mistakes or, successes.
Well, I think this will just be more about creating a solid foundation and a good network for artists to come together and share experiences, no matter kind of what your background or what your experience or what your field is in the arts. We'd love to hear from anybody, and just the more experiences we can get out there into the mics, the better.
Definitely.
And in these times, you need to be innovative, and you need to be innovative, and you need to approach getting your message and getting your art out there in new ways and ways that haven't been thought of before.
Live streaming. Everyone's doing that right now.
Yeah.
And people got time to listen. You know what I mean? Keeps minds occupied.
Yeah. Well, there certainly is diamonds in the rough of this whole thing. I mean, musicians and artists are creative people, so by nature they're always kind of looking of new ways to get their message out there and get what they're trying to say out there. And a kind of good thing about this whole thing is it's forcing people to get experimental, and it's giving me a lot more time to work on my art.
I was going to say, how are these sort of circumstances changing what you guys do? You're saying artists are getting more experimental. I'm saying it personally, but how have you guys directly?
I mean, it's you're kind of forced to sit down in a room and just play shit a lot. It gives people a great opportunity to
So you're just writing a lot more music.
100%. And it gives people who even aren't musicians a chance to pick up an instrument, get jam, and just get it's a good time to sit there and learn shit. And for me, I've been just writing a lot more and stuff just because I'm forced to. Well, not forced to, but I don't have any like responsibility. or
Self-isolation
anything.
is.
Yeah. Like I don't have to like go out and do this or like be here or do that. Like I just have to stay in my
Yeah.
room. So it's great, and I'm taking advantage of that.
Yeah, saving the world.
Yeah, well, self-isolation definitely is very conducive, I think, to creating great music and by an extension, great art. I know for a fact a lot of the themes in at least my art were, influenced by feelings of isolation. And I suppose, that's only going to intensify over the next couple months. So
I feel like there's
Yeah.
going to be an explosion of like fantastic
Oh,
emotional
oh my
music
God.
after, after this.
on the other side of this, the music industry is
Yeah.
going to, musicians are going to kick down the door
Yep.
so hard just because
Yeah.
there's so much, to muse about in these
Yeah.
times. I mean, we've never.
There's going to be so much new shit.
Literally a once in 100-year.
Save your $750 Sano payment for the gigs in
Yeah, the gigs are
2021
gonna be
because they're
fucking
going to go off.
wild.
2021 is going to be,
Yeah,
Keep your
so
eye out
much
for
new
U-Time
shit, and
specifically.
someone's going to be so eager to just get out and go
I
on.
mean, we're all keen to make 2020 our year, but
Yeah.
it's not turning out that way for a
Yeah.
lot of people. But the important thing is, from adversity comes greatness, and I feel like the adverse situations that a lot of artists find themselves in at the moment will breed great works of art and great songs,
Yeah,
and
100%.
great paintings and great writings. So it's not all doom and gloom. We do have to
Definitely not.
and I think,
take pleasure in the small things because the small things are all we have at the moment.
Yeah.
Really.
and I think, I mean, artists have always found a way to like create beautiful things out of terrible situations and terrible feelings. And obviously this isn't a great time, so I think artists will thrive on that
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
create something beautiful out of a shit time.
Yeah.
And not just that, like, I'm excited to see how artists come together
Yeah.
in a time like this.
Well, I mean, stuff like this is
Yeah,
perfect.
yeah, and stuff like this is a perfect example. A few friends of mine made a Facebook group recently called the Art Ensemble, and that just proves to me, that artists are a bunch of people with a strong sense of community that are willing to facilitate each other's creativity and allow each other to flourish.
Artists are go-getters.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like the amount of pub shows you got to play before there's any sort of, I mean, there's obviously those one in a millions, but the amount of pub shows and like you've got to grind. Like
Yeah.
it's not.
No, it's
there's
not
a lot of
it's not
determination.
It's not a walk in the park.
And
Yeah,
and I
definitely
think that's I definitely appreciate artists for taking that leap and putting in the hard yards.
And
Yeah.
even just the mental strain
Yeah.
is so like overlooked.
Yeah, and during these times, people are going to need art and music to listen to more than ever to, get people through. Because I know for me, certainly, art and music has helped me through, rough patches in my life. And I'm sure art and music will be the thing that gets me through this rough patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I reckon if we've covered sort of the virus and how it's sort of affecting you guys in writing more music and being at home alone. You've seen it affect the industry as well. Come on in. You're all good. Sorry? Yeah, no, he's fine. He's very playful. Come here, Odin.
Odin.
We got a guest. Hey, come here.
Okay. Odin. Yeah, hold on to him. Sorry.
Sorry, man.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We got to clean up. Come here.
Odin,
Odin.
stay here.
Oh, wait. I know he's going.
Oh no, he's gone. This might be. A bit
Are
of
you allergic or anything? Yeah. Asthma. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should probably get Odin out of here then.
Where can we put Odin?
He'll lie down there.
Yeah.
He'll be alright.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alright.
cool.
Yeah.
Lovely.
All right. Bit of an interruption.
Yeah.
It is what
Yeah.
it
So
It is what it is.
how have you seen it affect the industry? So the venues that you typically go to.
Oh well,
crazy.
It's crazy.
It's
like
fucked.
I never thought. Well, I'd planned to see Fontaines DC. I'd planned to see Dive. I'm not going to see them anymore. Personally, well, Franco was working on an album. We're still working on it. Don't worry, it'll be out. It's just been obviously put on hold a little bit. We can't really track for the foreseeable future, but that's okay. We've got some stuff that's near finished. So keep your ears out. And obviously we can't play live shows, which I'm gutted about. But it's for the greater good that we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just like local venues and stuff like Wrangler and Pride and like these smaller local venues, like it's such a terrible thing to happen.
Yeah.
Like their income and stuff is gone, and like they really like just shoot up and excel so many local artists and small artists. So
Yeah,
it's hard
they're a community.
it
Yeah.
makes it
venue
hard for
that-
like the
And the
small
reality
artists to
is,
can't
like,
get out.
Sorry.
No, keep going.
At least in Footscray, the arts contribute massively to our local economy. Like
Absolutely.
things like the sound stations that we have at Pride, that they turn over a big number, and really contribute to the community. So
Definitely.
the loss of the arts is going to hit us. Oh, not the loss of the arts; it's always going to exist. But the hit that the arts has taken is going to affect us all. Yeah,
Bit of a speed bump.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of a speed bump, but we'll come out.
We'll bounce
the other
back.
side.
I mean, yeah. So I think this is more industry side, but it's going to change the landscape of everything. There are going to be venues that go bankrupt, I assume. There are going to be communities that are worried about patching holes and aren't doing, the things that they would prefer to be doing, like putting on shows and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, and if anyone out there is young and wanting to get into the industry, even if you're old, now's the time. Like, use this
And
sort
I mean,
of...
that's the thing, like, musicians are always the first ones to put their hands up to, like, help others and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the bushfire relief
absolutely.
concerts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure musicians will get behind it to try to help out these local venues when they can.
And there's already been great initiatives put in place, like live streaming concerts. I know there was I can't remember the name of it, but there was a live stream of a few big Australian acts that's coming up. And Pride of Our Footscray Bar did a live stream of a drag show last week. I understand that
They
actually
did.
turned over quite a big sum.
2,500.
Yeah.
All community.
Yeah,
Like,
which is impressive, and it's
fantastic.
important. I think we've said it before, but it's important that bars and venues and artists all find new ways to push art out there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so Melbourne, it's where we are. It's where we...
It's where we always
Live
are.
and
Born and bred.
What is it like being artists in Melbourne?
Oh, it's
What's
great.
the climate?
Yeah, I think we're really lucky.
Yeah.
Like, Melbourne is a pretty art forward and like art accepting place. And I think a lot of artists really, value and appreciate the opportunities we get here in Melbourne. But yeah.
Yeah, no, like if you're an artist born in Melbourne, you've got a lottery.
Yeah.
I think
pretty much.
specifically the west side as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, specifically the
100%.
west side. This
It's
place
bubbling.
is, it's
Yeah.
it's got such a great little niche of artists, not just musicians, but artists of all different kinds of mediums. If you're born in Melbourne and by extension the western suburbs of Melbourne, you really could not ask for a better place to be born as an artist or as
Definitely.
a person interesting in the consumption of art.
Yeah. Even just for punters, like
Industry
like
as well.
for people
Yeah.
just wanting to get
Managers.
out to gigs and stuff.
Yeah, so Claim, a local band, just released a new single.
Mhm.
They're fantastic. And they're West Side.
Yeah.
You've got Wilder Glow, which they're a pretty cool band. They're West Side. They just released a new single. You guys just released a new single. Like, we posted on our Instagram, our Exude group Instagram, 4 fantastic singles that just were released in the past 2 weeks. And I feel sorry for the people that just released a single and had a launch show or anything planned.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
But there is fantastic music being released all around Melbourne.
Definitely.
Keep your ears out. You're gonna have plenty of time in your house to
Yeah.
listen to a lot of great music.
Yeah.
And
100%.
great new music, because there
And
will be stuff coming.
And it's a good time to like explore other music that you wouldn't necessarily listen to. You've got time in your hands.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah.
on an album that you wouldn't think you'd listen to,
Yeah.
and just experiment.
Yeah, remember, self-isolation doesn't mean you have to be just in your room. It means
Yeah.
keeping your distance. You can go down to a really nice place that you like. For example, I like to go down to the river and just sit and listen to music, and that's self-isolation as well. But it's more peaceful.
Social distancing.
Yeah, it's more peaceful and more easy on your mind than just sitting in your room getting cabin fever all day.
Yeah, no, definitely. Sun's important.
Yeah,
Vitamin C.
vitamin C.
There you go. I know my science. Good stuff. I think so. You're in Franco Cozzo.
Mhm.
You guys have been together for
Oh shit.
5 years.
5+ years. Yep, it would have started.
It's like 2 months ago.
Started probably with me and Archie playing guitar together at the end of year 8, but it didn't really officially start until start of year 9 when Alex, our singer, moved to the school.
Right.
Yeah.
And so can you go through the components of your band? What's and maybe in like linear order, like from when you first had people join and you were looking for other artists in the area and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I've always had an interest in music. When I was 6 and 7, I was 6 or 7, I used to make little cardboard cutouts of instruments and jump around the living room, listen to the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Sounds like Sam
I didn't start playing an instrument till I was about 10, and my first instrument was drums. But in year 8, I started listening to bands like Arctic Monkeys and The Strokes and kind of taught myself guitar from there. And at the same time, my friend Archie was teaching himself guitar. So
Did you meet Archie through school?
yeah,
or?
I met Archie in year 7. We've known each other since 2013 or so. And at the end of year 8, so 2014, we used to get together in the lunchroom and play Stroke songs together and take advantage of the school's equipment. And yeah, that just kind of grew from there. We started covering Stroke songs together. Archie was in the very fortunate position of having a cousin, Hugo, who played drums and had a place for us to rehearse in the early days. So it kind of just came together from there. And then we were lucky enough to have both our bassist Maseta and our vocalist Alex move to the school in year 9. And from there things just kind of evolved and morphed, and we all grew up together to the point where it is now, which is just 5 of the best friends you could ever ask for, playing music that we really enjoy and just having a great time together.
I'd say from like coming from the business side of things, 5 years is a very like promising amount of time for a band to still be
massive.
together.
Yeah,
And
well, it's a quarter of our life because we started it when we were ages. Hugo would have been just 13. It would have been ages 13 to 15, and we're all 18 to 20 now. So it's more than a quarter of our life we've been doing it. So it really is a long time. We've all grown up together and grown as musicians together, and we feel like we're at a point now, or at least we would be at a point now if it wasn't for the pandemic to really kind of take things by the scruff and start releasing.
Yeah. We've been with you for 2 years.
Yeah. You picked us up at the start of 2018, I
and
believe.
we had just a bit of context for people that are listening, if there's anyone listening. I and like Lockie and Darcy, the people I started with Exude with, had no idea how to book shows or how to do anything. We didn't know what backline was. We didn't know what a guitar amp looked like. So like I specifically learned from you. I think the reason why I say this is anyone can be booking shows.
Yeah.
It's like if Sam Sharkey can book a show, you can book a show. If you know how to email someone or pick up.
If you have an email address, you can book a show pretty much. Yeah.
And like a lot of venues will give early bands a shot. So specifically Melbourne, there's always rooms to be filled.
Yeah,
you might
definitely.
Venues are always looking for new musicians to play, and it's relatively easy to find out who to contact. They generally have who to contact on their website. So if you are a young band, obviously once the world sorts its shit out and live music's a thing again, just don't have any hesitation to hit up bars, because you're not, although you might be worried about how you sound, the reality is you're not going to get any better if you don't play live shows.
And like there's so many local bands that are willing to give bands an opening position that haven't played a gig before. Like you don't have to
get some friends down. Don't show up to a show supporting a band if it's like your first time without at least 10 people. Like get your parents down,
Obviously
get your mates down, get your dog down, or whoever you're friends with, and and show up and pay $10 for
Yeah.
a ticket,
Yeah.
because it's a genuine tip that will give the headlining band that sort of, you know, assurance that you do the work
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that you're gonna pull through
Yep.
with, you know, at least $100
And come
worth
out
of
being
tickets.
ready. Do you
No,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
and it also really does help to
Yeah.
go to local gigs and sort of not social climb, but get yourself known around the areas and
Yeah.
like chat with artists that play, and you know
Mm.
just be present in
Yeah.
the music scene, and then you know bands will be a lot more amiable to the idea of you playing if they show that if you show that you have genuine interest in, you know, the music scene.
No, networking
Yeah.
is vital.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And not networking in the, you know, kind of yucky way. Networking in the
You're not
you're
going.
friendly
actually
way.
You're not
interested,
going
yeah.
there to get anything from
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah.
You're, if anything, you should be going there to try and give, or like, you know, whether you have an idea or whatever. Like, don't go into any relationship expecting
Expecting
something
in
first.
return.
That
Yeah.
is never going to work.
Yeah.
Inviting people to your shows, like
Yeah.
I frequently
Yeah.
get DMs or messages from people saying, "Hey, like, you keen to come down to my show?" That's a great way to network as well. Social media is your best friend as an artist building up. Actually, yeah, chuck some of that over here. We're
Stay sanitized.
we're Santa.
Stay sanitized.
1 sec. But yeah,
Sanitized break.
Word from
stay
our
safe.
sponsor.
Stay safe. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So we covered 5 years for you guys.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. There's still bumps in the roads and
Oh,
stuff.
of course, there's always
Yeah.
going to be bumps in the
Yeah.
road, you know.
People have opinions and
Yeah.
the way that they like to do things.
Mm.
You, Lee Medvalsky,
See.
Red Fairy.
Yes.
I've been with you guys for about 6 months. 6 months? No, about a year now. I picked you up
Yeah,
in
about a year.
March of last year.
Yeah, almost a year. Yeah,
Wow.
almost a year. We've been our first gig was on the 5th of January 2019. So we had our little 1 year anniversary.
Was that the
Not that
backyard
long
show?
ago. Yeah, that was at Will Bryan's backyard. So we were gonna do a gig at the Workers Club, opening for our mates Gypsy Road, and Crust. And it was our first gig, and we like promoted the hell out of it, got all our mates down, like, was so keen, and then it didn't turn out how we planned, because a lot of the people that came to the gig were underage, and there was just a few hiccups with letting underage people in, and so yeah, it got shut down because there were just too many people, and then so Will's parents were kind of like, yeah, let's just bring him to our backyard. So we're like, all right, and it was just so much fun, and yeah, we had a single out before that though.
All stations?
Yeah, all stations, but that was our first like proper gig with the full members of the band.
Mm. So you started from the beginning with all four? Can you list them?
Yeah,
What
so
do they do?
there's Will Bryan, our singer and rhythm guitarist. There's Rory O'Driscoll on the drums and does backing vocals, and Sani on bass, who also plays synth sometime. But yeah, so and myself on lead guitar.
I think this is a question for sort of both of you. What's the process with songwriting? Is there one specific person who's heading that, or
Probably more back in the day for Franco, it would have been Archie or I sit in our room, crank out a riff, and then we bring it to the band, and everyone slides themselves in, and then Alex writes his lyrics. But we found that format, at least recently, was getting a bit stale and could sometimes even be a bit too ego-driven. So we've tried to take, or at least in the past 6 months, have really tried to take a much more collaborative approach to songwriting, where everyone kind of feels their ideas are validated and respected. And we think we're a lot more better served as a band for that when you have 5 dominant voices and 5 ideas instead of just 2 dominant voices and 3 voices that kind of feel a bit pushed to the side or shunned. You've really got to respect to be in a band and to be successful and to maintain a great relationship with your bandmates. I believe that you've got to sacrifice your ego to a certain extent and really value the 4, 5, 3 other people, however many other people that are in your band and their input and ideas. But with the whole quarantine thing, we're going a bit more back into the format that was before. But the good thing is we approach it with a lot more kind of collaborative thinking, because someone will bring something that they've written to someone, and then they'll be kind of vetoed and looked over by other musicians until we can all kind of come to an agreement and something that's you know, really showcases all of our talents and all of our abilities. And it's also kind of, you know, being able to sacrifice a part that you made if it doesn't fit, you know, and really approaching songwriting from a different perspective than you normally would.
That would have taken time.
Oh, it takes time. You've got to
Yeah.
learn. You've got to experiment. You've got to do weird shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Most of our songs come from the great mind of William Bryan.
Genius.
He is. So he writes most of our songs. But just recently we've been more writing stuff collaborative and together and all playing a role. So we've all like had our influences in the songs that Will's brought to the table, but yeah, he writes. It all comes from him basically. But we're having fun trying to write shit together, because we all individually write our own songs. Like Rory, Sani, myself, and Will. So we all like come from a place of knowing how to write a song. But yeah, we're just starting now to produce stuff together.
Yeah,
and
work out a system.
Yeah. See how like it's like a baby giraffe, you know, like first learning how to walk.
And for me, I get to see the baby giraffe, like, you know, stumble over a couple times, like, and sometimes I'm bringing in a Band-Aid to you know, patch up the leg or
That's
whatever.
your job.
Yeah, a peacekeeper, extinguishing
Yeah.
the fires.
Not just a manager, you're a mediator, Shane.
Made everything, but it works and I love it.
He's an Uber driver as well.
Yeah. No, I think
Service.
for the people that message me and don't get a response, it's because I'm dealing with something that someone has created, and yeah, no, so I apologize.
It's generally
for my,
him, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Me? What do I do?
I mean,
Do we really?
you're a bit of a princess. Like, if we were to go into it right now, like, this man,
It'd be all
only
we talk
green
about.
M&Ms, only green M&Ms in the green room. Like, what the fuck is that?
When did
Who
I
do
say
you think
that?
you are?
When did I ever
like,
say that?
You get like 100 people to your gigs.
When did I
mate.
ever say
He
that?
asked for 10 bottles of Voss water
What?
lined up in order from
What?
shortest to tallest.
And Smashed
is-
Avo. He has like a weird
Yeah.
obsession with Smashed
Yeah,
Avo.
I love Smashed Evo, but I've never asked you to make me one. I'm very
Brie cheese.
particular.
That's like.
Where's
Right.
this green M&M thing coming from?
Moving
Sorry,
on,
but
moving
when
on, moving on.
talking out of your ass, man.
Well, I'll
Talking out of your absolute
show them
arse.
the
the rider.
The list
of
that
demands.
That wasn't me. That was Rory.
all right.
I swabble on that. I said,
We've got
can
that
we?
on
I
camera,
said,
he
I
swabbled.
said, I said, can we have the Port Royal in the rider? I never said anything about the green.
Yeah, like a 50-gram Port
no,
Royal.
I just said, can.
Who's buying
can I
him
put
a
a pouch?
50-gram Port Royal?
Wasn't Jaden said, don't expect it, just put it in there. So we did. We put fruit
Right, yeah.
and we put beer, we put water, and Rory put his M&Ms and I put a pouch. Haven't got it yet, so that's your job.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
come on, Shannon.
All right. Moving on. Goals.
Goals.
I think I'll start this by saying, in Melbourne, we're pretty fortunate that there is a lot that happens. So for us as we're sort of small scale. We have a lot of options and a lot of rungs to climb to go up to the top. So festivals,
open doors.
Exactly. Festival shows, international touring acts. A lot of them come through Melbourne. Any of those, you know, specific goals like selling a certain amount of records.
I really have not much in
Yeah.
the way of selling records or playing festivals. Although I really, with every fibre in my being, really want to do those things and, you know, play a big sold out show. I really do want to do it, but the main goal for me is just to continue making music that I like with people that I love, and to honestly just keep getting the happiness that I do out of music. Because, you know, I could be selling fuck tons of records and, you know, playing to sold out stadiums every night and absolutely hate the music that I'm playing and, you know, just be really sour, as a lot of, you know, big groups probably have been at
Well, that
points in
could be
their
a goal
career.
of yours, is
Yeah.
maintaining that sort of, I guess you could call it a responsibility to do what you want to do and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
continue doing that.
Yeah. I reckon I more have my goals are a lot more kind of internal
Right.
Yeah.
with the thing than external. Like, I just want to get as much satisfaction out of it as I like. And although I really do want heaps of people to like the music, as long as my mum likes it, my dad likes it, and all my friends like
Yeah.
it and keep coming to our shows, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I'm quite the same. I'm not really fussed about, you know, going platinum and, you know, playing sold out shows to thousands of people. That would be phenomenal and fantastic, but yeah, I don't really have a goal in music. It's more just I just want to be content. I want to be happy. I want to be like always learning. I don't want to stop learning and be at a level where it's like, oh, okay, like this is it. Like you can chill. It's like,
Yeah.
nah, you want to keep going and keep bettering yourself.
No, absolutely.
No, that's a great point, Lee. Because at the end of the day, music, like, I know I don't play guitar because I'm thinking about, oh, gee, people are gonna love this when they hear it.
Yeah.
You know, music is something you do pretty much mainly for yourself and to
Yeah,
heal
100%
yourself
agree.
and to,
Yeah.
you know, express yourself in ways that you can't through words. Like, I know I can definitely express myself on a guitar way better than I can through my voice or,
Yeah.
you know, through, you know, any other means. So, you know, that's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think, yeah, a basic one that can be applied for a lot of things is just do the best that you can do.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
I think for me specifically, I feel a responsibility for the artists that I have. Like, I didn't pick up you guys for a period of time because I was worried that there wasn't going to be enough time to do, because we just picked up Pride. So we're doing every Friday there, which we'd never booked for a venue before.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, being aware of your limitations and making sure that you're able to facilitate, you know, the necessary means of whoever you're helping.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, as long as you're doing, you know, the best of your ability,
Mm.
and staying aware. All right, influential album.
Oh, it's that time. Yeah, so Lee and I and Seamus all had a chat and thought it could be a cool idea if we just talked about albums that have been influential to us as musicians and as artists. And well, the one that I picked has been on constant rotation in self-isolation. Bars, holy shit. The album is Goo by Sonic Youth. It was released in 1990, and the thing that I love most about Sonic Youth is that they're punks at heart, but they really push the genre to like its absolute limits. And you know, technical musicianship isn't really a feature of punk music, and while I wouldn't say that any of the musicians in Sonic Youth are like virtuoso, amazing, you know, musicians, they have a great sense of sound and a great sense of songwriting and a great sense of how different sounds interact with each other, and that's really the foundation of Sonic Youth. It's different sounds interacting with each other, and that can be kind of exemplified through Goo. A lot of it's built off noise and the way, you know, just guitar feedback and extended kind of, you know, jams and just weird, abrasive experimental noises with beautiful melody and really well thought out guitar riffs. As a guitarist, this album is very influential because the way Thurston Moore and Lee Ronaldo, the two guitarists, kind of approach the guitar in Sonic Youth is really innovative. You'd be really hard pressed to find a song that's in standard E tuning, for example, and that's like really what I like, because it's kind of, you know, reimagining the guitar from an unconventional standpoint, and that's been really influential on me. Like, for example, I don't think I've written anything in standard E for a while now, just because the Sonic Youth have been sitting in my room, you know, detuning and retuning. for hours on end. I also really like the rhythm section of this album. Steve Shelley is just so dynamic, and the way Kim Gordon, the bassist, interacts with him is really interesting. I wouldn't say it's a typical kind of bassist drummer dynamic, because Kim Gordon takes on kind of the abrasiveness of the guitars as well sometimes, but
So they're sort of
Yeah.
fighting for,
Yeah.
like they individually fight for.
everything's
the
clashing
tempo
in a way, but it
yeah.
really works. It
Right.
really works. My favourite tracks on this thing, I really like Moat because of the way it kind of mixes Lee Ronaldo's kind of beautiful, conventional, sweet harmony with just noise and really abrasive chords in the background. I like Titanium Expose because that opening riff is just, makes you want to punch down walls and all that. And Disappearer has some great textures on it. And the lyrical content of Cool Thing is really interesting.
How many tracks in this
Oh,
album?
there's bloody heaps, and
Bloody.
there's bloody heaps. And I would advise people to not just pick out tracks that they like
Yeah.
and listen to the full album as a collective because it works better that way.
So, Lee Matvowski,
Yeah.
an album,
My
significant.
album is Neanderlaid, usually just a t-shirt, by John Frusciante.
Wow.
Came out in 1994, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, it's just a really inspirational and iconic album for me. It's not really like a chart topper.
Oh no.
But yeah, but it's very raw and it's very organic, and I just love how he conveys like emotion and feelings through sound and not lyrics. And he's just really experimental and just like you can really hear him speak just through his guitar.
Yeah.
And it's just a great album. Because I can't sing for shit. So like if I want to convey something, it's harder to do that. So it's a really good one to listen to if you're trying to get into that, which I think is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
It's
definitely.
a really clear. This album's obviously a big inspiration for me as well, and that's a point of bonding in our relationship, because we seem to be, no one else likes it.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen to. It's grating as fuck. It sounds like a man falling apart. And
Yeah.
if you listen to it in order, you can hear him falling apart.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's a really personal, intense listen that makes you ask a lot
Yeah.
of questions.
No, definitely. Yeah, and that's one of the main reasons I love about it. Like it's far from perfect, and it's
It's
not
genuine.
So
conventional
raw.
at all, but
Genuine?
it's
Is that the word that you?
Genuine.
Oh,
Oh,
it-
100%.
It's honestly one of the most authentic
Oh,
pieces of art I've ever heard. It's
Definitely.
It's probably the rawest thing
Yeah.
I've ever heard. Like John Frusciante talks about an interesting concept where when you hear someone play an instrument or hear someone sing, you're actually hearing the way their nervous system and their energy and electricity interacts with an object. So when you hear John Frusciante play guitar on this album, you hear his nervous system, and I believe you can hear him,
Definitely.
his mental state and his nervous system almost more clearly than you can hear
Yeah.
on any other record out
Yeah.
there, I'd say.
100%. No, I couldn't agree more. And it's just like I don't even know how to describe it. It's just pure,
Yeah.
and it's just like there's so much energy through it.
It's pure but very tortured.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. But
Yeah.
like, that's the thing about art. Like, it doesn't have to be like happy, or anything close to it. Like, it's so sad, but like, it's still an icon for me. It's still a favorite. But yeah, favorite tracks would be Untitled number 2, Untitled number 7. Yeah, and they would probably be.
Well,
they
the
would probably be
album's
two
in two
standouts.
sides. It's called Neanderlades and usually just
Yeah.
a t-shirt. And the Neanderlades side of the album has all named tracks. And then they're usually just a t-shirt. Everything's untitled, so it's
Yeah.
untitled 1 through 13. And yeah, if you listen to the whole thing, take out I think it's an hour and 15 minutes,
Yeah.
just to sit there and listen to it, you really do hear a man, because he started, it started recording while he was in the Chili Peppers
Yeah.
working on Blood Sugar Sex Magic, so you really hear the decline in mental state from
Definitely.
a man who's excited
Yeah.
and, you know, happy about what
And
he's
like
working on.
towards
To a
the
man.
end, just how like a lot of the tracks are just one take recorded,
Yeah.
and it's just so again just like
Yeah.
pure, and like
Yeah.
he doesn't give a fuck like if he's selling 2 records or he's selling like 100,000. It's
Yeah.
just like something that he was going through, and he like that's his way of expressing his pain and shit.
Where's he from? America?
Yeah.
Well, John Frusciante is the guitarist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
He's from America.
back.
He's back in. You won't be able to see him though. He's their most well-known guitarist, and obviously the Chili Peppers are a massive band and
was
have
their-
been for 30 years.
Yeah, he was the backbone.
And this was like recorded when their breakthrough kind of album came out, and you can really hear him kind of grappling with the level of fame that he's got to and how he has no control over it.
And
yeah.
also going through like heavy heroin addiction and just
Yeah.
a lot of mental demons.
I'd call it maybe an anti-rock album.
Yeah.
Almost, because it's kind of so against traditional rock convention, but still uses the, you know, distorted electric guitar that has made rock famous. Yeah.
Yeah, but so he had trouble with some of the members of the Chili Peppers and was in and out, and kind of never really adapted or liked the whole spotlight of being famous and all that. It just didn't sit well with him. And after years, he's finally back in the band. So they announced that a couple of months ago.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah. So I reckon they'll be working on music instead of touring, obviously, because of the virus. But that's, I think, something to look forward to.
It is. Yeah.
It'd be Silverchair for me.
Silverchair.
What album?
Silverchair. Young Modern. If I'm having to pick one, there are fantastic albums and singles that they've released, but that's been engraved into me since I was 8 years old, going to their gigs in Townsville. Great dudes. I've met them before.
You have a personal connection to the band, don't you?
Personal
James?
connection. I've only met them once. I'm not saying that I'm best friends with them, and I was young, but they were nice to me, and I remember that. But yeah, it's Thieving Birds. If I had to pick a track out of that album, is Daniel Johns. He's an artistic genius. He brought sort of the I mean, I'm sure he wasn't the first to, but he brought orchestra to rock, and the melodies that his voice is just incredible. Obviously, lead guitarist is great as well. Silverchair.
Yeah.
Why was the track you said your favorite?
It's pretty emotional. It goes up and down. It starts as so it's actually 2 songs put into one, which is a pretty. It's not so common. Artists and musicians don't do it so often, but it happens.
Yeah.
It's the first minute of it is the part 1, and then there's a middle section which picks up, and then it goes back to the ending, which is like very orchestral.
It's actually a lot more common than you'd think that multiple songs would be spliced together. For example, I remember hearing Radiohead's Paranoid Android. It was like
I think
something
people
like
don't
6
notice
songs
either.
or something.
Even
spliced
like Pink
together.
Floyd, you know.
Yeah.
Just and Gears.
Yeah.
I guess you've either really got to be paying attention or you got to know.
Yeah,
sometimes it just blends so
Yeah.
well
Yeah,
that it doesn't seem like 2 songs spliced
That's why you got
together.
to listen to like pieces of music as a whole, not
Yeah.
just single
Oh,
tracks.
absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
you got to listen to the whole
Yeah.
album, start to
Listen
finish.
in order.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, if an album comes out, I reckon as a listener you should probably make it your first mission to just sit in a dark room, listen to it start to finish, and then do it again, and then after that
Pick
pick out
out.
the tracks
Yeah,
that you want on
definitely.
your playlist.
Have you heard Shaky Graves?
I haven't.
Please, I'll send you an album.
Okay, yeah.
I forget what the album's called. I think it starts with an S. It's like a purple cover if you're looking at it.
Yeah.
But I sent it to you when you were down on holiday. You gave it a little bit of a sus, but same thing, just very emotional, really diverse. Up and down. I would definitely give them a
Yeah,
sus.
no, it's a good listen.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, very
What
sonic.
was it called? Shaky Graves.
Shaky Graves.
The
I'll search it up.
I think it was the second track of
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
That's a
It's-
mint one.
Yeah.
And there's a wolf or something.
Yeah.
There's a song about a wolf, like with the wolf
Yeah,
and
yeah,
title.
yeah, yeah. I don't know, I
Yeah,
don't know what
that's
it's
a mint
called,
track
but
off
yeah,
that
it's
album.
Yeah. Another interesting topic I was reading about recently, which got me thinking about my favorite albums and more particularly albums from my childhood, was the concept of the relation between music and memory. I was listening to a podcast the other week that my dad showed me, which was talking about how in Alzheimer's patients and musicians who are Alzheimer's patients, that while they'll struggle to remember like something like you or I would find second nature, like your mum's name or your kid's name or your brother's name, or you know the layout of your house. If they started playing a tune from their childhood, or even with if they started playing a tune from the childhood, the patients would recognise it almost instantaneously, and I think that's really interesting because I know I know for a fact a lot of my earliest memories have to do with sitting on my dad's lap watching Rage,
Yeah.
and I found it really interesting because the other interesting part was I found with musicians that have Alzheimer's, they remember how to play their instruments.
I've seen stuff like that.
Which is crazy.
It's ridiculous.
And I think that really kind of goes to show, at least goes a long way in showing that, music is such a universal kind of part of the human experience. And it's something that sticks in the human mind for a long time.
Yeah.
I know it's woolly, but this
Hey.
is a nice jumper, man.
Hey,
Come
I'm
on,
just
Odin.
destroying Sam's jumper. Oi, come here.
Bro, I've been nothing but nice to you today.
Odin, come here.
I'm about to get mauled on
Good.
mauled by a pit bull on this podcast.
Oi, come here.
Oh,
Dude, what are you doing?
Odin.
What are you
Seamus's
doing, man?
dog, just having a little toy with Sam.
Yeah. He got his balls chopped off the other day. It's
Poor
rough.
man.
Not fun.
Hey,
Oi,
hey.
Get him
Hey.
to
you wanna
relax.
grab Mantha? You wanna grab him? Odin! Odin! Yeah, go over there.
There we go.
Go over there. Yeah, go bite it, Anthony. There you go. Have fun.
He's been on like 6
I
walks
must
today.
smell like other
Yeah,
dog.
he has endless energy.
He's a good boy.
Oh, if only you could see this. Anthony is struggling with Odin at the moment.
Cuddles.
I forgot what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, memory and music. There you go. That's a. Oh, that's a coincidence. Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. A lot of my earliest memories are connected to music.
Oh, 100%.
And yeah, it's such a, profound thing to listen to music. It conveys messages that just simply don't exist through the English language or probably any written language.
Well, like you, as like reference, the kid shows are predominantly like music based, whether it's like a sing along thing or the
Yeah.
ABC, the alphabet. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's all connected with music or rhythm
Yeah,
or
and memorizing, like
Exactly.
I still sing the alphabet song to
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
kind of know the order of
not
it.
even. Yeah, no, I don't remember the order of the alphabet song.
Unless
Not
I
even-
sing it. Yeah.
Even if I sing it, I'm fucked.
Really?
Yeah, it's my.
That's not good.
my
I don't remember
memory's
the order of
bad.
the alphabet unless I sing it. I know for a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do it backwards.
Well, like even
And sometimes I go A to G and then go back to A. Like just by reading
Oh, just
music.
because of yeah. Lovely. We're always looking for people to join us on this podcast and provide their own unique insight.
Yeah.
No matter who you are and no matter what your background is or what your art medium is, we always want people
Absolutely.
to come on with us and discuss something that they're passionate
Yeah,
about.
and I think speaking to new people sort of opens your, horizon in terms of
different views, different
exactly.
opinions, different experiences.
Without a doubt. And yeah, so if there's anyone specifically wants to hear speak or know more
Yeah.
about, because I guess this like podcast format is a little bit more personal. Like
Yeah.
you're hearing our actual perspectives and feelings and emotions and what we like and what we don't like and that sort of thing. So if there's anyone that listeners want to hear
Wants to
of,
come on, have a
you
chat
know,
with us.
whether
Yeah, if anyone, has any questions about anything or wants
Yeah.
to know a little bit about something, we're happy to try to answer questions
Yeah,
and give our view and our insight.
Yeah,
and
we'll both be. We'll probably both. We'll probably set up something like a question box where you can give us topics to discuss,
Yeah.
and give us questions, and also we'd love to have people physically here and talk with us. So if that's something you'd be interested in doing, and if you have something you want to talk about that's art related,
Or someone. Yep.
yeah, where should they contact us? Do you have a
Well,
contact address?
I mean,
on the page.
yeah, we'll have obviously our Exude group, Instagram, we'll be posting this stuff. Then we'll also have, I can't read a glary phone. Jesus Christ. And we have an email set up, thanks Anthony, podcast@exudespotlight.com. So you can email us
podcast
there. You want to catch this?
exudespotlight.com.
Yeah, so
We'll flash it
chuck
up
us
on
an
the screen.
email. And bands as well, like
Beep, beep, beep.
bands as well. We could also have a couple band members
Yeah,
of whatever
definitely.
whatever band on here.
I mean, there's got to be personnel restrictions, so
Yeah, we'll figure
pick
it
your
Oh.
most eloquent members and send them in.
Oh no, for sure, and they need to be 1.5 meters away
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah.
Enclosed spaces.
Yeah, we got out the measuring app on the phone.
We actually
today.
did.
We're safe.
We're safe.
Take
It's like
precautions.
1.6, 1.52 or
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that.
We're
No,
all
we're
good.
We're good.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure chatting with you boys today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Something, as I said at the start of the podcast, it's something I've been looking forward to all
Yeah,
week,
excited.
and I'm keen to do the next one.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Good
Onwards and
chats.
upwards.
Yeah, see you soon. See
Until
you
next
Bye.
time.
Boy.